What's going on, everyone? This is Talks with Kenny, and here we'll be discussing about how Arizona is becoming the gold standard. Just passed a universal bill for their state, where essentially it's opening up Empowerment Scholarship Account, which is an initiative that was originally used for military and failing students, and grants families $6,500 in tuition annually per child for private or homeschool or learning pods, which has grown increasingly popular nationwide over the last few years due to COVID shutdowns and mandates and the woke ideology. Right. The legislation is the most robust expansion of educational freedom in the nation. Matt Bilberg, Director of Education Policy of the Goldwater Institution, staunch defender of American founding principles and constitutional liberty, told the Washington Free Beacon it guarantees every Arizonan student, whether they're coming from a private, public, or homeschooling, the opportunity to join the ESA program and receive their fair share of the state's funding to pursue any educational opportunity that best fits their needs. Goldwater, who pioneered the ESA program more than a decade ago, reported that program went from serving 100 students to more than 10,000. The institution says many families make yearly financial sacrifice shouldering expenses of private school tuition or homeschool supplies, yet these same families have access to enrolling their children to public school, which costs taxpayers over $10,000 per year regardless of their income. Yeah, that's crazy to me. Like, taxation without representation, that's essentially what it is. That you're not using a service, but you're still paying taxes for it, right? You're just imagine that you giving $10,000 to an institution and you're not using it. That's to me. School choice is the answer. Honestly, it's the best case scenario for parents. Like, if you had to ask, what's the current system? You think the current system is the best for parents and students? It's going to be hard to argue that, because the current system gives a less quality education compared to all the other options that are out there. Public school perform worse than private school, obviously. Charter schools and even homeschooling outcompetes it, or at least competes with it. And imagine, that's regardless of whether the parent has an educational background or not. Regardless of the parent has the income or the money to hire tutoring. So across the board, homeschooling outperforms public school students. And I believe homeschool, you only spend about $600, $700 on the high side per year for supplies for homeschooling. Imagine that. And they're outbeating $10,000 in public schools. Like, the resource allocation tells you that, hey, if I can get a similar result or better for $700 compared to $10,000, the obvious choice is homeschool. But not a lot of parents have the time commitment. But with school choice, with these learning pods coming out, right? Learning pods essentially is you have one teacher and they collect a group of students that are following some type of homeschooling curriculum, and that teacher would spend time with them and walk over the material with them. Essentially, it's like school, but it's a shorter time period. So, the point is that this new it's a big business opportunity here. Like, essentially, in the private sector, the best thing the private sector is good at is resource allocation and getting the most out of their dollars, because they have to drive a profit. So they're better they better know how to use resources better than the government, because the government, you don't know how to handle money that you didn't earn. The government don't earn any money. They just take from us, the taxpayers, and then they splurge it on whatever program, regardless of the quality, regardless if it works or not, because they're not the direct recipient of the set service. And I believe this is the main reason why public school is failing so much, because the resources don't go to where it's supposed to go, right? Money doesn't belong to the government school. Don't have good resource allocation because they're funded directly from the government, and the government just distributes the tax dollars based on the district that school operates in, and most of that money goes to administration. Administration just soaks up all the money, 88% growth year over year. And look at the other, like, administration staff, more principals, assistant principals, more gatekeepers. Like, but the people that directly affects the quality of your product and service, the teachers and students, they get nothing. They get marginally nothing. And in a company, how can you you won't be able to justify that to a business owner. It's like, how exactly is this driving profit, having more more administrations in public school? The administrations don't do anything. All they do is essentially direct. They're like the authority. They like almost like a manager. That's more bureaucracy, and bureaucracy makes change very slow, because you got to pass through before you change something. You got to go to check in with this person. Oh, you got to check in with this person. Like, nothing will ever get done, and this is why parents get so frustrated with the school board, because when parents give feedback to the school board, say, hey, we don't like you guys teaching CRT, and the school board just look like, uninterestedly, like, okay, next parent, like they're not, there's no incentive for them to actually make any change. But if they know that, hey, with school choice here, the money's going to follow the kid, and the kid doesn't re-reward with that in that school, you lose funding, you lose jobs, money will be leaving out of the budget. You'll be more inclined to listen to the parent. And I think this is the future. I really honestly believe this. Like, I'm a big supporter of school choice. Like, honestly, the Republican Party got a great opportunity here to like seize this. They can really make every parent in the United States really think about, damn, like, this is a great opportunity, and hopefully we'll see if the Republicans capitalize on it. Let's go with currently. This is a study that is in 1997, public school failures, homeschool successes, right? So in this study, the numbers of students being homeschooled across the nation is between 1 million and 1.3 million. The total number of homeschoolers equal the public school enrollment of the states of Alaska, Delaware, Hawaii, Montana, North Dakota, Rhode Island, South Dakota, Vermont, and Wyoming combined. Homeschoolers outperform public school students by 30 to 37 percentiles points on all subjects of standardized achievement. Whether the parent ever held a teaching certificate had virtually no impact on the student's score. Even homeschooled students whose mothers never finished high school scored 55% percentile points higher than a public school student in a similar circumstance. Now, I'm not saying that teachers are unneeded. Teachers provide a service, because end of the day, you don't have time to teach your kid, right? A lot of parents are in that position where they don't have the time to oversee, watch their kid, and actually teach their kid, and that's a great resource that teachers have. But it goes to show you that the government running things, like, imagine that, like, resource allocations, like, honestly, I'm starting to thinking. I believe in this new innovative free market education that teachers will need to upskill. They need to be more creative. They need to be more not specialized, but they need to relook again, like, all this homogeny, like, group think. Oh, this is how we always done it. This is how you always supposed to teach a kid. I believe that it opens opportunity for more revolutionary thinking, and I think that would increase our academic scores across the board, because for too long public schools has been almost guaranteed business. Like, no matter whether the quality is subpar or not, regardless if it's a F, D, C, B. And I heard some arguments that those gradings do affect your funding, but end of the day, that school will never close its doors. It'll always receive resources regardless of how the processes are run there. And to me, honestly, throwing more money in public school is like throwing money into a fire. Like, it's just gonna get sucked up by an administration, as I showed earlier, right? And then the administration are essentially gatekeepers, bureaucracies. They're going to be against any sort of change. Like, imagine all the teachers union that was against the school choice bill being passed. Like, the teachers union don't have our best interests at heart as parents and students. All they care about is having guaranteed income, guaranteed jobs. They don't want to compete for your students, your children. They don't want to give them the best quality education, and they know that majority of Americans can't afford to leave public school. With school choice, we'll have that option, and you see how scared they are to have that. And speaking about the teachers, here's an opportunity I believe teachers can capitalize on, right? Some parents are hiring tutors to augment their homeschooling experience this fall, and entrepreneurial teachers are serving that need and cashing in on the opportunity. One high school English teacher in Illinois, who asked to remain anonymous, told me that she made $49,000 a year teaching 9th grade and AP English. Like, get me? But several families have approached her for private tutoring, and she realized that she can make more money as a private tutor with fewer hours and more flexibility. And this is why capitalism is the best system, bar none. If you believe in socialism, that's you. But this is one of the advantages of capitalism, is that it incentivizes everyone to make a product more innovative, more competitive. Imagine this. Imagine more teachers might take this route, and public schools will lose even more teachers. I believe public school currently they have a teacher shortage coming up pretty soon. Like, they don't have enough teachers to meet the demand, I believe, for public schools. How about the breaking up the public schools? Public schools is almost a monopoly at this point because of the government being back behind them. And school choice is decentralization. Essentially, you're making it smaller government, more so to speak. Milton Friedman talked about this in his book, Free to Choose. And he goes in depth about how in the education system, there's no innovation because the government is just stuck in its old ways. Like, the public school system was built in the 19th centuries, and as of right now is not well equipped to deal with 21st century problems, right? We innovative in our technology, how we communicate with each other we have internet now. You can learn anything on your own. Like, I learned how to edit. I learned how to do all this on my own, just searching through the internet. I didn't need to go to college and get a degree in filmography or whatever to set up my little setup here. And it's the same opportunity. Like, our learning model needs to get updated. And I think this is why one of the reasons why America is falling behind compared to the rest of the world is because we don't want to experiment with this formula. This formula is based off of old revolution, and we're in a new revolution. And it's time that the educational model catches up. Well, let me know what you think. This is my thoughts on free market education. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Do you think I'm off my rocker, or you disagree with school choice, you agree with school choice? Hey, just let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.